If you are a dividend investor and are looking for a way to have a dashboard to keep track of and assess your dividend income over time, you're in the right spot. In this video, I'll be sharing with you how you can create a dividend income dashboard for free using Google Data Studio. Let's get into it. All right, first things first, we access Google Data Studio link, which is available for free through a Google account. We go to datastudio.google.com and we start off by clicking on blank report, because that's the intention. We want to start a blank template dashboard. First step, you notice that it asks you to connect to some data source. In this case, we want to connect to a Google Sheet because we've already created a Google Sheet, as you notice, whereby we've captured all the details around our dividends. In this case, for us, our dividend income is coming from three different sources. One is Wealthsimple Invest, it's a robo-advisor. Then we have Wealthsimple Trade, which is active investing through Wealthsimple. And lastly, we have Trade. We've jotted them down, broken down each record by month, quarter, and year, and the dividend amount. So we have this pre-populated and captured in this Google Sheet. We call it dividends. It's available through our Google Drive account. Now, if we hover over and we try to connect it to Google Sheet, let's click there. We authorize this piece. Now it starts to look for the different files that we have, different spreadsheets that we have available on our Google Drive. In this case, dividends is the file name of the file. If you want to import sheet number one, the default sheet, and you don't change anything here, we just click on add. This automatically then connects this data point to your the dashboard that you have. Now, one thing you would notice here when you're looking at the list of available fields, except for year that is showed as a calendar, the rest of them are showing as ABC, which the system thinks that they are categorized as characters or texts. That's not truly the case for dividend. We want to make sure that they are reflected correctly, which is why we want to go back to our source data, so we can click on resource, manage added data sources, so that way it loads this other file for us, and in there we click on edit. Here you notice here for dividend is identified as text. Instead, we want to change that style to a currency, so we want to say it's a currency field. Now that's done, we will make sure to mark it as finished, and as a result of that, this should now be updated. You want to just make sure that as you are working in your Google Sheet, and the column that has the dividend amounts, it is listed as a proper currency, formatted currency. So if you click, for example, format, and you select number, Canadian dollar currency in our case, or if you pick currency, make sure it's the select currency that you're interested in. But on top of that, you don't want to add any dollar sign by yourself, so the data should not have any dollar sign. This dollar sign that appears automatically because of the formatting. If we added a manual dollar sign, it would cause error in your dashboard. So with this now addressed, if we go back and look at our table, you notice that when we click on this table, under the dimensions, we have the source funds from Wealthsimple Trade, 𝐁𝐈𝐿, Wealthsimple Invest, and under the metrics, we have added dividend. Technically, you can simply add dividend, and if you add the option of sum from it, like if you click on it, sum, that's already taking care of that. Now, this is a tabular format. Interesting for us to see, for example, here, let's say if I click on it and I want to change the ascending or descending style, so let's say I want to put it ascending but by the amount, or descending, let's say I want to put it from higher to the lower amount. We see immediately that the highest amount of dividend that we've earned over the years is from Wealthsimple Invest robo-advisor, followed by Trade, and then Wealthsimple Trade, active trading. This is a tabular format. What if we wanted to, rather than this, I wanted to have some sort of visuals, and the visuals, the best part is allow you to have the cross filtering and interactive dashboard. In this case, let's say if I click on add a chart, it gives you some visuals, easy to see what type of charts you may use. In this case, let's say if you want to use a pie chart, we're going to click here and add the pie chart. what I'm interested in, let's take a look. Maybe what if you have our pie chart displayed automatically by default. So still you're seeing the majority of your dividends came from Wealthsimple Invest by percentage here. Similar type of settings. But let's say I want to change that, and instead of looking at the sources, I want to click on that and instead look at by quarter. What portion of our dividends are actually coming from which quarter has contributed the highest. In our case, you notice Q1 has the highest amount of dividends earned so far, and then we have Q2. And if you, as I hover over this the pie chart, it actually even shows you the total amount of dividend you've earned in each of the quarter. That's the beauty of it. So that's one thing for us to consider. We want to also add a filter here, whereby if you click on add a control, and if you see drop down list, that allows us to add a filter. Let's say in this case we want to be able to filter by year. So instead of quarter in the control field, I want to add year. What it means is that, so right now you're seeing for all years, but let's say you're interested in a particular year. If you click on it and you choose that particular year, the results will be updated. Right now, if you're in the edit mode, if you go to view mode, if I click on the view, you'd actually see how this dashboard would look like. So I would be able to say, oh, I'm only interested in, let's say, 2020. And as I do that, the whole entire dashboard gets updated. How about if I'm interested in only 2019? In 2019, Q4 was actually our highest dividend amount. And if I scroll over again, you see how much dividend income you had. So that's about adding a control easily to here. And if I click one more time on it, it's just gonna add back everyone here. So let's go back to the edit style here. We want to make it a little bit look nicer. Gonna scroll it down. You could add here any title. So let's say you want to add text at the top. You want to say, for example, all right, starting to look better. For those who are more interested in playing with the formatting, go right click, for example, here. As easily you can see themes and layouts, so it allows you to go back to themes, and there are some default themes. So if you click over it, it just automatically changes it for you, some sort of visualization and formatting that is available for you, color codes and all those details. You could use the layout to customize it as much as you want. There are so many different features here. For us, for the time being, let's just go ahead and pick one of these default themes, like this one. I think is the nice one, so let's have it there. I want to go ahead and add one other chart. All right, this is an interesting view, because what it does in a visualization perspective, it gives you the dividend income breakdown, but by quarter for each one of the sources. When initially you hover over it, it starts also to show you the amount for that quarter, and it's easier to visualize it like side by side for each different data sources by quarter, the breakdown. The beauty of the Google Data Studio though is you can play with it for different things. If you like, for currently we have the breakdown dimension by quarter. What if, let's say, your breakdown dimension was, and if I click over it, or either I close it or click on it to change, what if it was by month? You would notice here that now we have it available without any error displayed. It's just hard to see, so maybe we'll change it back to a year as an example. The stacking is by different years and how it's been handled there. We want to add lastly another chart, and this one we want to show almost maybe a line chart. Let's see how things have changed. Let's go for this and see what we can do. Let's explore. One of the features of Google Data overall is that you don't have to know exactly what you're looking for, and you can start kind of playing with it over time. In this case, let's see, we are interested in seeing the trends for over the year. Let's see what happens. The order, we want to make sure it's not by amount of dividend, but rather by the year, and we want to have it ascending. The amount of dividend is shown in by year, how it's evolved for us. So for example, the highest amount of dividend we had in 2020, that kind of shows us there. That's one view to look at. Let's say I also want to add a similar one, but in this instance I want to add one by the amount of, let's say, by quarter over time, and the quarter is growing over time. So let's see. You also can try out the smooth line chart, see how that happens, what is shown. So very similar look and feel to the other one, but it's just that the lines are curved here. So there you have it, folks. If you look at it, simply how you can play with Google spreadsheet and you create a free dividend dashboard for yourself through Google Data Studio. There's so much that you can play with it, and so much that you can edit and filter. Really, there's like a ton of features that Google Data Studio provides. The one piece that I want to also flag for you is that as you select any of the charts, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the pane at the far right side, you see there's the option of cross filtering. If that is active, what it means is that once any of the portions of the chart is selected, whether on this chart or any other chart, the whole dashboards would be reflected and updated accordingly. So for example, if you select only quest rate on the table that we have on the far left, then even this one, this table would be, this chart would be actually updated accordingly. So I want to make sure the cross filtering is active on all of them. That's active here. Let's see, I want to check on this one as well. It is active. And lastly, let's see here, it is active too. So if we go back to view, what we mean by that is that, let's say we are currently showing for the whole data, all the sources and different years. What if we are interested only in quest rate? So if you click on quest rate, all the data is updated now for quest rate. Here, the amount of dividends in Q1 for quest rate was this much, and Q2 and Q3 and Q4. So that's reflected there for us. What else? If we are interested, we want to also take a look here. How about the breakdown by years, how much amount we had? And how about for quest rate itself? How has the dividend income over the years changed for quest rate? You'd see we are showing an increase in the amount of dividend coming from quest rate in 2022. So there's an upward trend. Whereas let's say if we look at Wealthsimple Trade, it's going to reflect that the peak was in 2021 and 2022. So far this year, it's gone down, but we know the year is not over. So this could well be reflected and come back up. And lastly, if we click on Wealthsimple Robo-Advisor, Wealthsimple Invest, you'd notice that this trend is going downward. And it's not surprising, because for us, we've actually transitioned a lot of our funds from our Wealthsimple Invest into active trading and investing, and that's why this graph is reflecting that for us here. I would add a link to this dashboard for you to view. I make it public so you can actually play with it and take a look. And if you have any questions about creating a dividend dashboard using Google Data Studio, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to respond to your question or help you out if you have any technical difficulty. With that, I hope this video was beneficial for you and you gained something of value. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.